was a series. Well, guess what? It's no longer a movie. The future is here. I'm Tyrone Bowman. This is Tyrone Bowman Tonight. According to the San Francisco Chronicle, California says Cruise Waymo can charge for 24-hour driverless taxi service throughout San Francisco. California regulators on Thursday allowed robotaxi companies Cruise and Waymo to charge for driverless rides at all hours in San Francisco, in a momentous decision that could one day be viewed as an inflection point in how people move around the Bay Area. The historical vote by the California Public Utilities Commission drew nearly 7 hours of testimony from hundreds of supporters and critics who depicted starkly different futures with driverless technology. Supporters hope driverless cars will one day run the human era behind the wheel, obsolete and dramatically improve mobility options for marginalized commuters such as people with disabilities. Opponents fear the moment will open the door for thousands of driverless cars to saturate San Francisco streets, worsen traffic congestion, and interfere with basic city functions, such as emergency responses and public transportation, while eliminating millions of human jobs nationwide. Today, neither scenario has yet fully become reality, but the CPUC's decision, nonetheless, marks a significant milestone for General Motors' own Cruise and Alphabet-backed Waymo. State commissioners voted 3-1 in favor of Cruise and Waymo's expansion. Commission President Alice Reynolds and Commissioners Drace Huck and John Reynolds voted in support, and Commissioner Genevieve Sheroma voted no. The body's fifth commissioner, Karen Douglas, was absent. The commission is expected to get an update on Cruises and Waymo's expansion in November. This is an incremental approval, Commissioner Alice Reynolds said. It builds on existing approvals, and it's not the last action the CPUC or the Department of Motor Vehicles will be taking in regulating these vehicles. Sharoma sought to delay the commission's decision, and the companies first explained with greater granularity why their robo-taxis sometimes stop unexpectedly and how they plan to improve their technology. Because of this insufficient record, I believe it is premature to approve this resolution today, Sharoma said. The commissioners who voted in the majority said the companies had met the state's requirements for full commercialization over the concerns from city officials. While we do not yet have the data to judge AVs against the standard human drivers are setting, I do believe in the potential of this technology to increase safety on the roadway, Commissioner John Reynolds said. Reynolds was Cruise's managing counsel from 2019 to 2021 before Governor Gavin Newsom appointed him to the commission, where he previously held multiple positions, including as Sharoma's intern chief of staff. He faced pressure from robotaxi opponents to recuse himself from voting Thursday. Cruise and Waymo are under intense pressure to turn a profit after spending billions of dollars developing and testing their technology. After almost a decade of testing, the commission's vote allows the companies to fully commercialize in San Francisco and essentially puts their driverless taxis on equal footing with Uber and Lyft ride shares, minus the human drivers. And for better or worse, proponents and detractors both viewed parallels between Thursday's vote and the emergence of Uber and Lyft. It was early last decade when the two ride shares companies first merged in San Francisco with the support of the CPUC. The ride shares contributed to long-lasting congestion on the dense city streets, as well as other urban areas across the country, en route to globally transforming the taxi industry. The CPU looked the other way on Uber and Lyft, said San Francisco resident Charles Minister, who opposed robotaxi's expansion. All these companies care about are profits. Eliminating human beings means nothing to them. It means less problems because, as humans, we have to eat, we get sick, we go on strike every once in a while. They don't like that. The CPUC, which regulates the emerging robotaxi industry that made San Francisco its testing lab, approved the company's expansion despite vocal opposition from city officials who said they've increasingly disrupted emergency responders. The high stakes vote drew dozens of driverless taxi opponents and supporters Thursday morning. Taxi cabbies who said the technology threatened their livelihoods protested outside the CPUC's headquarters off Van Ness Avenue. They are joined by activists and residents critical of robotaxis, sometimes erratic behavior such as stalling unexpectedly and making illegal turns. Several driverless taxi supporters also showed up to make the case that the technology has already proven to be safer than human driving. They're getting a lot more attention than the human drivers who are doing some of those same erratic behaviors on the streets of San Francisco, said Peter Elder, California president of the National Federation of the Blind. Are driverless taxis perfect yet? No. They've still got some development to do, but based on the rides that I've been on, they work safely. Last year, San Francisco officials began collecting data on disruptive AV incidents to make their case that Cruise and Waymo's taxis were not yet ready for full commercialization. Officials also sought to highlight the fact that many basic details, from the size of the company's fleets to how often they stall or are involved in collisions, are unknown to them because state regulators don't track such data. City agencies have tallied 600 disruptive AV incidents as of June, many of which have coincided with an exponential increase in driverless activity by Cruise and Waymo in recent months. San Francisco officials told state regulators they're concerned that the lifted restrictions would potentially make such AV disruptions more common on city streets. Cruise and Waymo have defended their safety records. The company's representatives told state regulators this week that their robotaxis have driven millions of miles on city streets this year, mostly without incident. Their cars' artificial intelligence, they says, is continuously improving, and their experience driving on city streets has allowed them to better react to real-life conditions, lowering the rate of disruptive incidents. Robotaxi supporters say city officials' scrutiny of autonomous vehicles is akin to a double standard that has in place equal focus on the human drivers involved in the city's severe and fatal crashes. But fire and transportation officials have said that despite their promise for safer driving, the autonomous vehicles' non-responsiveness and the company's latent troubleshooting during some incidents have created dangerous road conditions in ways that aren't typical of human drivers. Even if the commission had voted against the company's expansion, their driverless taxis likely would have remained as ambiguous as they've become in San Francisco. Both companies are already allowed to operate the autonomous vehicles 24 hours a day in San Francisco. The Waymo could offer free driverless rides, while Cruise could only charge for driverless rides at night. Cruise and Waymo both already operate hundreds of driverless taxis in the city. State regulators' approval didn't include a cap on fleet sizes. Full commercialization will likely serve as a kindling for putting more driverless taxis on city streets to meet projected demand. Both companies boast of having tens of thousands of people in San Francisco on their wait lists for driverless service. Cruise and Waymo have not specified how they would expand service, though their representatives told state regulators they would do so incrementally. Today's permit marks the true beginning of our commercial operations in San Francisco, Waymo co-CEO Taditra Mawakana said in a statement. We're incredibly grateful for this vote of confidence from the CPUC and to the communities and riders who have supported our service. I'm Tyrone Bowman. Never surrender, never quit.